let's look at the pet industry. First off, read this disclaimer carefully. We will look at pets. This is a very, very interesting industry, or sub-industry more specifically. We see that people are spending more and more money on pets. There are multiple reasons for this. Some of it is very healthy. We have a higher interest in animal life, bonding with nature. There's also some pathological aspects to this, in the sense that there is an increasing number of people who are having pets as quote-unquote children as a cope for not having their own children. And this is to a large extent actually something we can blame the schools for, sexual education, because the big issue is that many people, they learn very early how to prevent having kids. But for females, that is a pretty risky thing, because female fertility is very much tied to age. And if you wait too long, then having kids becomes very, very difficult. So there are basically, so people getting pets and spending a lot of money on it, there are healthy aspects to this, which I really support. People bonding with nature, loving animals, I like that, of course. But there is actually also a darker side to this trend, which I have just highlighted. Okay, so let's look at the seasonality here. PETQ, you can see here that June is, well, we do not have that much data, so be a little bit careful about being like, wow, June, because this is literally just 3 years, really, because 2020 it's obviously is not done yet. So yeah, but you can see that there is weakness heading into the winter times. That's the general trend, but July and August are historically rather strong months. Let's look a bit here at the company. Okay, so here there's a little bit of a disturbing slogan here. We believe that all pet parents should be able to provide necessary care that enhances the lives of their pets. Who we are, PetIQ provides affordable pet health and wellness products and veterinary services to pet families through retail channels across the country. We are advocates for pet parents, because we believe that all pet parents should be able to provide necessary care that enhances the life of their pets. I don't like this kind of language, especially given that, there is a more depressing side to people getting pets and treating them like children. That it is a depressing aspect to it. But so basically, there's a light side and a dark side to this industry, and I question their decision to use this language. Okay, so let's look a bit at the trends here. So basically, my take here is that I am bullish on the pet industry, but unlike many other trends I have showed on my channel, this one is boosted by sort of like a positive aspect, and also a bit more depressing or maybe even darker aspect. But both of these aspects are bullish for the industry. But what I did see here with PetIQ, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight this stock today, is because there's a very clear seasonality. Rise, declining cycles. It's not, of course, perfect every single time, because then you could literally basically print money, but you can quite clearly see there are some very solid cycle patterns here on these weekly data points, looking at all the history here. You can see though that it's very, very common for this stock to rally and then have a big pullback. This is a swing trader's nirvana. I mean, look at how seemingly predictable it is. Of course, when you look at the chart like this, it is very easy to start to think that it always will work out like this. Be careful about that, but so far it has worked out. And when there are pullbacks, minus 48%, I mean, shorting could become really lucrative, minus 36%. When it moves against you, let's measure this rally here. So this rally here was 118%. So this is definitively one of those stocks where if you short it, you definitively want to get out of the way when it moves against you, because it moves big. Based on the cycle patterns here, there's good reason to think that we have a declining cycle developing, which could take multiple weeks to develop. I mean, based on the cycle patterns. So yeah. And you could also make the case that we have a bit of a triple top formation. Okay, the RSI is in the neutral zone. The accumulation distribution line here is it's actually been rising, so that's bullish. If you look at the statistical correlation with S&P 500, there's 45-ish%, so not that correlated. That's interesting. If you look here at the daily data points, here you can see the cycle patterns in much more detail, and they are very clear and consistent. This is just amazing for swing trading. If you are a more longer-term investor, you definitively want to buy a stock like this at the lows, because you know it otherwise could become extremely frustrating. I mean, it is a bit frustrating anyway for a longer-term perspective, because it moves in this up and down, up and down. One time you log into your account and you have like so let's say you buy like here, and then you have like 76% gain, and then you log in, minus 11%, 48%, minus 8. I mean, just very frustrating. But yeah, it's how the cookie crumbles. Hence, maybe this is best for swing traders. Maybe you could make that case. But yeah, based on the technicals here, there is, and especially the cyclicality. The cyclicality is so strong. The rising cycles are usually not that long. You could make a very strong case that we're due for a pullback. So either you could be a bit of a bear if you do see more deterioration. Alternatively, you could wait for the declining cycle to complete, and then you could buy a dip. So there's multiple ways to play this. So these are some of the technicals. Let's look at some other metrics. So here you can see that the market cap is $936 million US. Decent number, but still it's a small company. Options are available, that's good. It's shortable. Let's jump forth to the analyst recommendations. So you can see here I have done the math. The stock is currently trading at $33.86. The analyst price target is actually $42. That's 23% above the current levels. So let's look at where $43 is. Like this. Where is $43? Okay, so $43 would actually be, it would basically be a new all-time high. Let's look a bit further back. Yeah, $43 would be actually be a breakout above these levels. So that's of course bullish. Okay, if you go to Saks.com, they actually are very bearish, but they are so bearish that maybe you could make a contrarian case. Number 5, strong sell, the value of growth in momentum. So what would be ideal here, an ideal setup is this, okay? So Saks is bearish. Saks has quite a bit of influence. So let's say that Saks stays bearish, and then the stock has the declining cycle. Then as, the price goes down, Saks will change their metrics, because the stock becomes more, it can become a better value, and they upgrade the Saks rank, which could then push buyers into it. So you could have the declining cycle and then the rising cycle. That's one of the ways at least Saks could influence it. You also have these numbers here, which are bullish. So the primary reason I would have more of a bearish take, at least for the shorter time frame, is due to the very strong, super strong cycles throughout this entire history of this stock. Very strong rising, but also declining cycles. Okay, so to sum up my take here on PetIQ, there are multiple forces that are very bullish for the pet industry, but as I said, there are some problematic features to it, which and I don't really, I'm not a huge fan of how PetIQ talks about it, because the very fact that they use the words parents and family when talking about pets it suggests that they are a bit aware of those, both the light side and also the dark side to people's motivation for having pets, and I don't like that. So share your thoughts about this in the comments section, because I think this is actually one of the most important topics out there. I've actually, in my newsletter, I've created a theme to capture that, which I called assisted reproduction, because I think that this is going to become huge. There's just a lot of women who they become professionals, they take a lot of education and all of that, but they delay having kids, and they delay it so far that female fertility is very it declines very rapidly with age. And yeah, I'm 31 years old now, and I have a lot of female friends who are in a very depressed mood because of that. So if you are a woman, you are young, do not wait too long, because evolution works in a specific way. Okay, so that's my take here on PETQ, and some deeper thoughts about the ultimate underlying trends. So let's look a bit at the S&P 500 futures. Okay, so yesterday we had some weakness. So far today we seem to have some very modest strength. We were a bit lower earlier today. We are still above the 5-day moving average, which for all intents and purposes is bullish. At least when it comes to like the Nasdaq here, the S&P 500. We have been cooling down, and this is basically a standoff between the bulls and the bears. It is, however, interesting that this big nasty candlestick here is we're still shell-shocked from it. And this one, so bulls make a lot of progress, one day for the bears. And this candlestick here should give you a bit of a, it should spook you a bit. If you are a roaring bull at this point, this one day shows you that there are some serious bears out there. So be a bit careful. I looked at the Nasdaq, because I do think that Nasdaq is being a bit bubblish. And it certainly is a bit bubblish. I mean, if you look at the weekly data points, as you saw in yesterday's video, it's just crazy. Wild stuff. And we do usually have some weakness in this summer period in the world stock markets. June was very strong, hence it would be healthy and completely normal to have some weakness here in July. Okay. So, whatever you do, of course, you don't want to fight the trend, and may the trend be with you.